He doesn't have a brain like ours. Instead, it has a distributed network of ganglia, clusters of neurons working together. Some of them are responsible for movement, others for breathing, and others for touch. The whole being is an intellectual network spread thinly over its soft body. In a sense, Aplysia doesn't think. She feels her way through life. Her body itself is a mind. In a silent world under the waves, where sunlight fades and colors dissolve into blue, there lives a creature that looks like a lump of jelly, fragile, slow, and inconspicuous. But appearances are deceptive. Because this creature known as the California sea hare, Aplysia californica, has done something that no human has ever been able to do. It has taught us how memory works. Aplysia is not just another sea slug. This is one of the most important animals in neurology, thanks to which we have learned how memories are recorded, erased, and rewritten in the brain. His translucent body hides not blood but light, a faint, pulsating light passing through nerves as thick as threads. While we think of slugs as simple, mindless herbivores, this creature is the philosopher of the sea, keeping the secrets of thinking in its soft body. It lives in tidal pools along the Pacific coast, feeding on algae with its rough mouth, a kind of living file that scrapes algae off rocks. But his true uniqueness lies deeper, invisible to the ordinary eye. Inside his body is a nervous system so vast and accessible that scientists in the 1960s turned it into the Rosetta Stone of the human mind. Each Aplysia nerve cell is huge. Some of them are so large that they can be seen without a microscope. These neurons pulsate like jellyfish in soft light, and when they are touched, electrical activity occurs. It was here, in these glowing nerves, that researchers discovered how memories are formed, not through mystical energy, but through chemistry, when tiny molecules move inside a cell when something is absorbed. One touch, one incentive, one reaction, and the worm remembers. In humans, this process occurs in billions of neurons that are too small to be observed directly. But in Aplysia, everything happens in an enlarged form. The biology of thinking is revealed. The nervous system has taught us that memory is not just one thing. It has layers: short-term memory, stored in the form of electrical impulses, and long-term memory, carved into the shape of the cell itself. Slug taught us that remembering means changing who you are physically on a cellular level. But here's the real paradox. This slug that remembers can also forget, and scientists can erase its memory using light, chemicals, or even by transplanting parts of one brain into another. Imagine this. In 2018, researchers transferred RNA from one Aplysia to another, and the second slug reacted as if it had experienced the same thing. Memories seem to be able to move, not as ghosts, not as ideas, but as data encoded in molecules. At that moment, the line between biology and technology was blurred. The sea slug became the first organic hard drive, proving that memory can be loaded, overwritten, and restored. Her body is as alien as her mind. Aplysia's nose, called rhinophores, looks like a pair of antennae, but inside there are chemical sensors capable of detecting pheromones and toxins in vanishingly small amounts. He can smell danger even before any predator appears. His gills, thin and folded like silk, are hidden under a mantle that moves when threatened, an almost theatrical movement, as if a slug were pulling a curtain over itself. The slug releases a cloud of dark purple ink from its skin, not to disappear, but to confuse. The ink contains chemicals that dull the predator's senses, creating a neurochemical haze. They don't just hide the slug, they affect the enemy's brain. There is poetry in this act of self-defense. The being who helped us understand reason also learned to use confusion as a weapon. Its size surprises people. It reaches 75 centimeters and weighs more than a newborn baby. To hold it in your hands is to touch a living paradox, soft but powerful, devoid of reason, but the key to understanding consciousness. Its flesh is pale, almost luminous, and when it moves, it undulates like breathing silk. It does not rush, but glides slowly, as if the ocean itself is carrying it forward. Scientists have mapped every neuron in his body, every reflex, every reaction, And yet, the more they discovered, the more they realized how little they understood about why this creature could do what it does. His neurons don't just remember, they adapt, rebuilding themselves like living circuits. In one experiment, when a slug was repeatedly subjected to a mild electric shock, it learned to react less and less each time, a primitive form of learning known as habituation. But when the same touch was accompanied by a reward, the slug's neurons amplified the signal. It began to expect something: pleasure, food, or stimulation, hope from a creature without a face. But what makes him truly attractive is that his memory persists even after death. Scientists took nerve tissue from the deceased Aplysia and found that cellular memory traces, chemical signatures, remain. After death, the echo of the experience persists. The slug unknowingly preserves the truth that we often fear: memory is material. She outlives us in parts. So this jelly-like soft creature has become the basis of our understanding of the psyche. All research on human memory, from trauma to artificial intelligence, originates from this sea slug. In the laboratories, the name Aplysia californica stands next to the names of Einstein, Freud, and Darwin, a silent hero who did not even suspect that he was changing the world. His story is not a story of beauty or horror, but of revelation. Under his skin, the neurons burn like constellations, and each spark is a whole universe of thoughts. This creature proves that intelligence is not limited by shape, face, or complexity. It manifests itself in the ability to adapt, change, and remember. And maybe, just maybe, that's the essence of evolution: not perfection but permanence. Aplysia remembers the waves that shaped her, the tremors that taught her, the currents that carried her. She doesn't have eyes that really see, but she perceives the world through molecules. She doesn't have a voice, but she speaks to us in the language of neurons. If the ocean is a library, then this creature is one of his oldest books, soft, silent, and almost forgotten. This reminds us that consciousness is not an invention of humanity, but a whisper of the universe, repeated in countless forms, even in something as simple as a slug. The philosopher Alan Watts once said, "You are the hole through which the universe looks at itself." So is Aplysia. Through its translucent body, through its neural light, the sea looks back at itself, thinking, remembering, evolving. And if you've come this far, remember, every discovery, every mystery solved begins with curiosity. Please support this channel if you want me to continue to get to know creatures who define the meaning of life in a new way. Like Aplysia, this channel works thanks to connections. Every click, every post, every gesture supports it. Down there under the waves, a slug is drifting, not knowing that he had changed the world, not knowing that it carries the imprint of memory. He just moves, slow and eternal, through the cold green silence. The living paradox is proof that even the simplest creature can keep the most difficult secret of all: how to remember.